Arthur, does it help to have someone to talk to?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. She told me I had a purpose.
I'm gonna say the N-word.
That's racist! You can't say the N-word!
Hey guys, I'm back here with another video, and the Joker trailer. The trailer for the Todd Phillips adaptation of the Joker character, the notorious Batman villain, the one that pretty much every single person on Earth can recognize and point out and say, yeah, I know who that is. Because the Joker is a pop culture icon to an insane degree. He is pretty fucking well known. I mean, Batman is one of the most recognizable faces in culture, along with Superman and Spider-Man and all that, so obviously his villains would be just as popular. But the one everyone can point to and say, that is Batman's nemesis, is the Joker. So, Todd Phillips, the guy that directed War Dogs and the Hangover trilogy and that movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis that was supposed to be an unofficial reboot of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but nobody fucking remembers it. I can't remember the title. I think it was like Due Date or something. Anyway, he's coming to adapt the character and give it a new spin, kind of a new interpretation to add to the DC Cinematic Universe. And honestly, just from the trailer alone, I really have to emphasize, trailer alone, I think it's going to be pretty good. It has Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is a phenomenal actor. If you ever see him in The Sisters Brothers or Walk the Line, the movie about Johnny Cash, or I want to say it was The Master, a movie he did with Philip Seymour Hoffman before he died, where he was stuck in a cult and trying to get out of that. That was another really good one. The dude is a phenomenal actor, and he really, just from the trailer, you can see is bringing a humanity to this character that not a lot of adaptations have explored, simply due to the fact that it is a little antithetical to the entire point of the Joker, where Batman you know everything about. You know why he does what he does, and you know he has a very strict code and process of how he does things. Joker's the exact opposite. You have no idea who the fuck this guy is, and he does whatever the fuck he wants. And some people are divided on the new direction this movie's going, immediately saying that, oh, well, they're giving Joker a backstory, that's ruining the character. Or they see it as a half-hearted attempt to adapt the really vague backstory given in Killing Joke, where Killing Joke, you know, quote-unquote, I'm going to really emphasize quote-unquote, the Joker's story in that, because he claims that he was a failed comedian whose pregnant wife died in a house fire and all that. But even then, you can kind of get the vibe that Joker's lying about that, because a big thing about the character is he does tend to make up his backstory whenever people ask him, just to fuck with them. There was multiple scenes in The Dark Knight where that actually comes into effect, where Joker tells a story to somebody, and then later on in the movie he tells his story, and it's a completely different tale than what he told the last guy. It is a really clever and interesting aspect to his character that really keeps you guessing on just who the fuck this guy is. I personally am okay with exploring the Joker in the way Todd Phillips wants to, because I get the vibe that it could go in a direction of unreliable narrator, where Joker is lying, he will embellish things, and he'll try to make himself sound more sympathetic and as though he's telling the story to somebody. Or it could just be a genuine new direction for the character, where you see how he became the way he did. And honestly, I'm okay with either, as long as it's good. And I know some people are worried about Todd Phillips' direction. Some people really don't like the Hangover movies or a lot of his other work, which does tend to be hit and miss. I kind of like how he directs things. It feels very stylized and kind of has its own identity, where if you watch something like War Dogs, that was a movie with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill. I actually thought that was kind of underrated. It was a very interesting story about these two gun runners that made money off the war in the Middle East during like the mid-2000s. I thought it was cool the way it was done, and I thought Todd Phillips did a good job on that. It wasn't spectacular or phenomenal, but it was watchable. I liked it. The first Hangover movie, a lot of people liked that one, but Hangover 2 and 3 were kind of where you got the feeling of like, does he even want to do those? Then you look into the production and find out, oh no, those were contract jobs. He didn't want to do those. So yeah, he kind of half-assed those. But just from the trailer, you can kind of tell that he wants to tell the story of the Joker. He wants to do something. And I think that this really does have potential to be something that can help the DC universe stand out. Because lately, DC's been doing alright. At the time of this video, Shazam just came out. A lot of people really like Shazam. I've been wanting to see it. I just haven't picked a good time to go see it yet, but it looks really good. Aquaman was a lot of fun. A lot of people really liked Aquaman. And all in all, DC looks like it's finally getting itself together and trying to figure out just what the fuck they're trying to do. Because for a while, the DC universe had a big problem of trying way too hard to appease the Zack Snyder direction, where Zack Snyder, he is a decent cinematographer. Like, I'm trying to find the best words for it, but he's good with cinematography. He can make something look good. A lot of his movies can look good. I'm obviously kind of iffy on that too, because I think Sucker Punch and 300 aged like fucking milk. But all in all, he does care about making something aesthetically pleasing, to where you can look at it and it looks nice. I mean, even some of the dumber parts of Batman vs Superman, from a visual aspect, look kind of cool. The whole thing with Batman in the desert and all that, it was fucking worthless, but it looked cool. And really, you can kind of tell that DC's getting tired of his shit, where he's completely botched the universe, where Man of Steel, I actually think, was a decent enough jumping point where it was trying to say, hey, this is a grittier universe. This is not going to be the hopeful, optimistic shit you get with Marvel, where it's jokes all the time. And Man of Steel, I thought, had problems with making Clark Kent himself kind of an emo bitch. It's like, no, make him the optimist in a dark world. That would work a lot better with what they were trying to do, where he was the guy that was going to be the better standard, instead of constantly beating the audience over the head with, oh, he's supposed to be Jesus. Like, no, just let him be an optimistic superhero. That's exactly what Shazam has been doing, where, yeah, it's a cheesy story. It's very much in line with the Raimi movies, but that's kind of what it needed to be from the first place. It's like, no, you need to have fun with this. It's not really going to be shit that'll be remembered for years to come. It feels like Snyder was desperate to pull a Chris Nolan and make everything super gritty and realistic. Difference is, Chris Nolan has kind of a lot of experience under his belt making shit that is really fucking good. So it kind of makes sense why Chris Nolan would be able to pull off a Dark Knight trilogy, and Zack Snyder, who kind of is just Michael Bay but more pretentious, couldn't really do the same thing with a cinematic universe. But if Joker is able to kind of back away from the wannabe edgelord bullshit and just tell a genuine story, it could be incredible. And there is an aspect to it that I have seen popping up, where I've seen, various people on Twitter and on, journalist outlets, the autistic retards that need to be wrangled. Yeah, they're trying to say that the movie's gonna be bad because, it's gonna validate white men being beaten by society and becoming violent. Which, no, it's fucking not. That's such a dumb-ass fucking argument. It's so stupid to see that shit. Where, anyone notice that whenever these, autistic fucking lefty journalists or blue check marks have a movie they like, they say, oh, well, what man baby criticizes a movie before it comes out, referencing Captain Marvel and Ghostbusters and all that shit. But the minute it's a movie they don't like, they can criticize it from day one no matter what. Like trying to say that the Ghostbusters movie that Jason Reitman is making, Ivan Reitman's son, is gonna be bad. Oh, it's shitting on the reboot. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh, it's a move Trump would make. That's something Leslie Jones fucking said. And you have this shit with the Joker where they're trying to say, oh, it's gonna glorify a villainous protagonist that's a mass murderer and all that shit. It's like, no, it is not. It's very clearly setting him up as a psychotic villain. I mean, it's not like he breaks down in tears trying to force himself to smile in the fucking trailer. I mean, that is something I do want to kind of rant about a little bit, where I simply have to ask one simple thing. Did any of those people pass, like, basic English class? Do they not know what the definition of the protagonist is? Where, okay, the protagonist is the main character the story follows. It's the one we're supposed to empathize with, get into the mind of, and really explore. That does not always mean the hero. That's something every English teacher beats into your fucking head. The protagonist is not always the hero. And there are a lot of movies, and a lot of books, and a lot of fucking everything that explores a character that's not heroic, and is in fact a pretty bad person. Clockwork Orange is a classic example. That was basically the Joker movie before Joker, where you had a psychotic teenager that beat, murdered, and raped people, and we are supposed to empathize with him. He was the emotional crux of the story. Yeah. Or what about Deliverance? Deliverance is a story about a bunch of guys that go out in the middle of the woods and are forced to commit murder. I don't want to spoil a lot of what happens, but it's a very disturbing story. It very clearly establishes this was something they had to do, not what they wanted, and they have to bury the crime. And it's obviously a dark and grim story where we're not supposed to completely 100% agree with these people. I mean, there are plenty of movies that have already given us villain protagonists. Devil's Rejects, anybody? Yeah. Shit like that. And it's just so childish. Hell, if you ever watch the movie Happiness, that has a literal pedophile as the protagonist, as one of the protagonists, and we're supposed to identify with him emotionally. This is not a new concept. This is not something that this Joker movie is breaking new ground with, where it follows the villain. No, this is well-tread ground. And it's so fucking stupid seeing these people try to turn this into some kind of political debate just because they want to shit on white dudes. And that's all it ever fucking comes down to. It's this childish mindset of you always have to dunk on whitey. You always have to talk shit about white guys. You always have to talk shit about this and that. And I'm not even going to try to bring it into any kind of like mass global conspiracy where they're trying to take out white people and all that shit. No, because I'm simply of the belief of it doesn't matter if that shit's real or not. All that matters is, are there people that genuinely want that to be true? That's where you get the retards. That's where you get people that bash white people no matter what you do. And really, it's just fucking dumb because it's a fucking comic book movie. It's a comic book movie starring one of the most well-known villains in DC history, in comic book history. It's very, very clearly not going to glorify the villains. No, there's a direct line in the trailer where they say, how could somebody do something so cold-blooded? I mean, it's that fucking simple, people. That fucking simple. This is not gonna glorify anything the Joker does. It's not. It's just not. And I fucking hate this annoying bullshit. Ugh. Really, the whole culture of movies and watching movies and just trying to enjoy movies has gotten so fucking cancerous, where lately I've been just diving deep into more art house films and more artistic films, simply due to the fact that they don't feel as condescending as something that a major studio would put out. And I don't want to sound too pretentious or like, oh, you know, go sip on your soy latte, you turtleneck wearing faggot. I understand the mindset. It's like, oh yeah, people that get way too into the artistic side of things can become autistic. No, it just genuinely comes from the fact of, I think independent movies and a lot of artistic movies tend to have a lot more of a genuine soul and a genuine want for you to enjoy them. And when you see shit like Brie Larson going on a rant about like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what white dudes say about A Wrinkle in Time. I want to know what black teenagers thought. It's like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. A Wrinkle in Time was goddamn atrocious. It was terrible. Nobody shat on it because it starred black people. You want to know a movie that just came out that stars black people that ended up being really fucking good? Us, by Jordan Peele. Yeah, saw plenty of white dudes say, man, that was a really good fucking movie. It's almost as though people give a shit about whether or not they feel like they actually had a good time and that it was worth their fucking money. I mean, I just fucking hate this disgusting behavior that a lot of major corporate studios are putting out now, where they get to shame you if you don't like their product. If anyone knows Red Letter Media, the whole Nerdcast podcast they do, where it's this fake podcast that pretends to basically be every nerd podcast ever, where it's very obviously fake, very artificial, very just sold out and terrible. There's a line that Jay says that is fucking poignant as fuck. And he just says, never question, just consume products and be excited for more products. That's what this fucking shit is. We're being told, oh yeah, no, you're not allowed to not like a movie. You have to like it because it has this many of this color in it. Or, no, you can't hate that movie because there's this many of this in it. And it's so fucking dumb. I just want to see a movie that genuinely makes me happy I watched it. I'm so fucking sick of this corporate bullshit. And the thing is, the worst case scenario, Joker's gonna be a so bad it's good movie. Because there's a lot of memes regarding the Joker. You know, the whole gamers rise up, Joker gets the N-word pass. You know, he's kind of being made into a goofy character, which, you know, I'm perfectly fine with. It's funny as hell. So, worst case scenario, it's gonna be a bad movie. Best case scenario, it's gonna be a really fucking good movie. And so you have people that are shitting on a really good movie purely because it stars a white guy, which, yeah, great optics there, retards. Or it's a bad movie, and you're bringing politics in where it doesn't fucking matter because you need to worry about how the movie was made in the first place. Neither of these outcomes require any kind of identity shit. Anyway, yeah, fuck this. Point is, I want Joker to be good. I want the autistic background shit to go away. I'm tired of actors and studios and all this pushing politics where it doesn't belong. And all in all, I'm just more willing to just give up on all this bullcrap in general. It's like, yeah, no. At this point, what's even the point to going out to the theater unless there's a movie that you really want to watch? And I mean, really want to watch as in you can't wait a few months for it to come out on demand or on Blu-ray or on Pirate Bay or something like that. No, it's just, there's no point to get up, go out, and waste time with it. I mean, there just isn't anymore. I'm perfectly willing to wait now. So, yeah, that's it. See ya.